Hey y'all, this is Cindy. I'm the Tireless Tangler, and you've arrived at day 29, almost 1 month in to our 100 Days of Zentangle Project 2020. Thank you all so much for being with me today. I appreciate each and every one of you. I know at least one of you sent Linda Farmer something yesterday, so thank you. Thank you, Anne. All right. Today's tangle is one that's fairly well known. It's called Toodles, and it came out with Zentangle's Project Pack 2. I believe they introduced it on day 6. So you may be able to should be able to find the video for that here on YouTube. This is a simple organic tangle. It is a lot of fun to embellish and play with the possibilities. I have seen a lot of different versions of this over time. And so let's find out what we're going to accomplish with this today. Take a deep breath with me, everyone. One more. Let all the tension bleed out of your shoulders and arms. Let your hand relax. Take a gentle hold on your pencil and lightly place your 4 dots. If you're working on a tile, if you are not, proceed as you will. All right. So now I am going to do a little border thing in my own unique way. I really should have turned that in, but it doesn't matter. Okay. So Toodles is a very cute little sort of like poke leaf kind of a tangle. It's very organic, and it starts with a slight S curve like this, and then we're going to put our glasses on before we take one more step. Aha, glasses. Oh, look. All right. Then we're going to echo that by taking off and landing along that same line. Okay? Next, it's very simple. Start down at the base, and you're going to put a little fescue in here. It can look however you want, be big or small. You just point these out. Okay? And now here's the magic. You start at the upper top. You're going to take a curved line right around here and tuck it up in under your little fescue shape, and then repeat. There's one. That's a toodle. I've seen lots of embellishing on these, lots of different shapes, so I'm going to grow this a little bit like a poke leaf situation. So I'm going to start again over here, take off, and land on the same line. Add my little fescue shapes. I don't know, the last one didn't seem this difficult. And then one more pointing out. And then from the top, make that magic happen. Just a pretty curved line down around that little fescue shape. And there you have it. Now, What I really want to do here is to overlap these a little bit, and I should have let that go behind. So I'm going to try that here. I'm going to make a partial one like this, and maybe have a fescue sticking up right here, and a fescue sticking up right here. And then we're going to go down around it. You can't really meet up, so it's going to poke out like that. That's not my favorite thing, so let's put another one in. And I did change the S shape, change directions. It doesn't matter, you don't have to do that. I don't think I'm getting what I want here. But as I always tell you guys, let's work on it and see what comes out. And let's see. I can't decide if we have any room for the other fescue over here. So let's leave it. Let's see. Let's handle that like that. And then put another one in here. If this is too complex for you, the overlapping, then don't do it. I don't want anybody getting frustrated and upset. If you want to just draw toodles everywhere, or one big one, or however you want to approach this, this is fun. Fun, fun.
Or is it?
Thank you, Peanut Gallery. The Peanut Gallery is always asking, where is it? All right, it usually is, by the way, just saying. Let's put some over here. Taking off and landing on the same line. Simba says hi to everybody. He's about to get all upset and rattle us. Are you bringing a toy, Sim? Oh, he's bringing it to brother. Good deal. Shenanigans better ensue in there, buddy. And let's see.
Opening toy for mommy.
Just keep in mind, it doesn't matter which direction you have this turned. I almost turned my fescue the wrong direction, but that's okay. Again, no mistakes. Really hard to get stuff wrong when there are no mistakes. It might not look like a typical toodle. I love that. Did you know the name of this tangle came from Rick and Maria's granddaughter, Molly Hollabaw's daughter, Mazzy, whose dad calls her Toodles, and so they named this tangle after her. I love this tangle. I can just play with it all day. And I am just filling my tile with toodles. I can have way too much fun with that name today, I think. I have a toodled tile. See, there I go. There we go. Still not loving this, but that's okay. I don't have to. All I have to do is get into a Zen flow, a drawing, peaceful drawing sort of feeling. I know what the next pen stroke is going to be. I don't always know where I'm going to put it, but I know what I have to draw next. There's a lot of peace in that. Come back around. Let's see. I think I'll ignore my string over here and stick one over here and have their ends meet up. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but we're going to find out. There we go. You know, the pain I feel in my knee is always less when I'm tangling. Sometimes you cannot see what you're doing as far as what's showing up when you do overlapping things. But you just have to pretend it's where it's supposed to be and go from there. Now, I have a great big mess of toodles here. Yes, I'm having way too much fun with that. I think I'm going to stop here. The question is, what do I do with them all now? You know me, I'm either going to aura or put line weight and rounding in, or I'm going to put orbs in, or I'm going to do all three of those things, since those are my go-to perk it up types of things. Before I do that, though, my question is, do I want to embellish in another way, perhaps adding some orbs? Okay, that wasn't another way. That was exactly what I said I was going to do, wasn't it? Like this. I am having to voice over this portion. We had a lot going on at our house this afternoon, and so this portion of the video got recorded with no audio. Now that I'm here, I don't know what to say. I'm just filling this little echoed line here down the center with orbs. Now there's a lot of different things you can do in these, and we'll probably do several. I say probably, excuse me, I say probably because I already know how the tile turned out. Okay, we're definitely going to do several versions of decorations on these. And so going with what I like to do, I have reinforced my lines, I have added orbs, and I have done not auras technically, but echo lines. So I'm right on track. As I was drawing this, I was wondering how this would look, because every time I have drawn Toodle before, I have resisted the urge to draw in these auras, but I figured today, why not? Why not try it? It's a perfect opportunity, and I kind of like it. What do you guys think? it's always so tough to know which embellishment to use next. And a good idea is to keep a little notebook or a sketch pad or something like that with you. And when you have little adornment, embellishment ideas, to, draw a little picture of them, tell what you think it might be good for, that kind of thing. So just something to think about. I'm not going to let go of that line, am I? Of course, my favorite tiny space embellishment is the dot and the dash. For some reason, it just has such a finished look to it, and such a simple thing makes it makes such a big difference in how something looks. And that looks so cool that I'm going to aura this and do it all the way around and see how it looks. It turned out great, by the way. Excuse me for clearing my throat. This time of year is really hard on my allergies, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm sick. I'm not. It's just all the pollen and stuff in the air makes my head go crazy. So don't fret. I am not sick. I'm just kind of yucky. Looks pretty, doesn't it? So I was looking at other ways to earn a little bit of extra money today, and I was watching a video here on YouTube about doing voiceovers or doing like audiobooks. And so I'm curious what you guys think. Would I do well? Well, except except for the ums and everything, which I think will go away if I'm actually reading words. But I was curious if you guys thought I had a good voice for doing voiceover work and stuff like that. Apparently, you can work from home. Of course, they're not going to like to hear Simba and Mari interrupting all the time, are they? So I decided to try sparkling this. Not my favorite decoration. One of the things that I'm doing as I go here is I'm what we call redefining the line, which is a euphemism, a sugar-coated way of saying that we're going over the line again. Anyway, one reason that's important in this type of a situation is because you want to have a clean break from one element to the next. So in this case, from one toodle to the next. And so when I had drawn those in, there was a little bit of line encroachment there. And I wanted to make sure there was a very clear separation between the elements there. And so, of course, I've gone to my standard. If I don't know what to do with it, I'll stick some orbs in there and black around them. That has been working. That has been working pretty well so far, I think. So I'm probably going to keep that in my repertoire. If you speak French, forgive me. I have always wanted to be a good French speaker, but I've never been in the country long enough to pick it up. I really do like the way this sort of pulls the elements together. You can just black this in. Another thing you can use for background like this is printemps, or printemps, or I don't know how else to say it. It's spring in French, but the Tangle pattern, printemps, and just the little spirals. That is also a really good background type fill a way to sort of pull elements together that aren't touching. One of my favorite ones to use in these situations is garlic cloves. That is a really good one for sticking into small areas. But in this case, I felt like that dynamic might be a little too much for this tangle, meaning that the tangle itself is very has very gentle flowing lines, and garlic cloves is more of a densely packed, dramatic looking type of a tangle. So I didn't want that vibe to change the flowy toodle vibe. Okay. I don't know if it's the pain medication, but I have been cracking myself up lately a lot. I've been laughing at myself quite a bit. That must be the pain medication, because the boy is just mad at me all the time. But I love him very much. He thinks I should just leave him alone and let him do whatever he wants. It's a good argument, especially when we're stuck inside all the time. But, you know, he does online kung fu, and because that's the only way I can get him to do anything besides wanting to sit in front of the TV. You know, we have an hour or two of schoolwork per day, and that's it. And so it is hard, especially if you're trying to be busy with other things. It's really hard to keep a very active child engaged in life in any way without letting them live on the TV. And I wonder sometimes how this situation is going to change our world forever, because I believe I don't think it's possible at this point to not be changed by this situation. And for those of you who've lost someone dear, and I know I'm speaking to one of you, my heart goes out to you. I am very fortunate that I have not been touched directly by this. We were all smart enough to see it coming and, stay in and away from it. But not all of you, and not in all countries, have had that luxury. And so I just want you to know that if you have lost someone or are sick yourself, or whatever your situation is, that you're not alone. Even though those of us like me who are not sick and don't know anyone who is sick, that doesn't mean that our hearts aren't full of so much for those of you who have. So I'll stop getting all serious here. I put a little printemps right here in the middle of that last one, and then blacked around that. You can see that's a slightly different dynamic than the orbs. The only thing I haven't been a big fan of was the sparkle black stripe. And that just could be because the curve was a little bit off and I didn't feel like the sparkle was in just the right spot. But I am liking the orbs and the blacking for this. I think that's pulling it together really nicely. And remember, these don't have to be perfect. And I wish I had left this the way that is right now. I really like the way that just sort of pokes up there. But I didn't. So we're going to see what that looks like here in a minute. You can see as we're blacking each element, we are drawing, or blacking between the elements, we are drawing the entire piece together. So I have heard from some of you that you are back working. How about the rest of you? What's your situation? Are you still in isolation like I am? I think that, in my opinion, my humble opinion, and I have no medical expertise at all, But I feel like they are really jumping the gun, at least in my country, and opening everything back up. I think I'm afraid we're going to have a second wave that may be worse than the first. And I would hate to see this virus mutate, or apparently there are quite a few mutations of it already. But I want everyone to be cautious. If you're like me with a compromised immune system, or if you're older, or have been a smoker, or any of those things, please be careful with yourselves. Remember that we can refuse to let this rule our lives, which I certainly will do. But we also want to use the sense God gave us. And, some people, I'm not sure. I just think God skipped them in the line that day or something. I'm not going to get into that. I don't want to be controversial. That is not what I want for this channel. I want this to be a place of peace and acceptance and joy in an art form that has brought so many of us healing and relief from pain and stress, and those are two great big ones. I don't think the world at large really realizes the therapeutic effects of this. And I know I mentioned in a couple of videos maybe that I have a friend who's a CZT, certified Zentangle teacher down in, I was going to say Aruba, but that's not it. It's one of the saints in the Caribbean. And she is involved in some of the first research on Zentangle that has ever happened. You know, Zentangle's practiced all over the world. The Zentangle Method is, and large in certain populations. And, well, it's pretty much large anywhere people have come in contact with it, I think. But she's involved in research with medical students who are in their residency and getting no sleep and under unbelievable, they're dealing with unbelievable stresses. And so they started offering Zentangle as a addition or as an alternative to therapy, like seeing a counselor or something like that to sort of decompress. And the initial findings were amazing. So at some point I'll get all that research together and put a link up for you. I think I published something on my blog about it when they first came out with the research, and I was so proud of my friend Dr. Ellie Miller, who was probably quite the instigator of that whole research project down there. So I think that's pretty awesome. So now what do you think? It's pulling together, isn't it? You can really tell that this is working. I was fighting the urge as I was drawing this to embellish them all. I was trying to give both a feeling of possibilities and a feeling of the pureness and the beauty of the pattern as it is initially. And so I was really trying to figure out while I was doing this how I wanted to go from there. We've had a difficult day here at home, and it's, yeah, things will probably heat up here for a while, and we'll see how it goes. I have been very relaxed where his situation is concerned, because nothing is allowed to happen or has been allowed to happen, because the courts are all closed and everything has stopped working. But once all that starts up again, I am sure I'm going to need to tangle even more. than usual because of the stress we'll both be under. So we will see. Little one is going, well, I'll just leave it there. I'll just leave it there and let you guys pray for us. I believe more strongly than ever before that things are going to work out in our favor. And, but that doesn't mean that it's not stressful in the meantime. So we just got to keep hoping and keep our fingers crossed and let our higher power be our guide. Try to make the most of what we have. Now, yeah, I'm still fighting that urge to do more decorating here. Every time I pick the tile up and turn it around and look at it, I am usually fighting an urge to do something specific, or I'm looking for inspiration, which sometimes happens and sometimes it doesn't. And I want to encourage you guys, if you have had a particularly difficult time with a tangle or with a tile and you don't feel like if you don't feel like the tile is useful or the art so far is useful, that's why I'm encouraging everyone to continue on and finish it out, because it makes a huge difference. The finishing touches make a huge difference in your final product. Yep. There I go thinking again. Here it comes. Oh, I thought I added one more thing. Well, I did, clearly. I'm adding my chop. For those of you who missed that video, the chop is just your artist mark. There is a history for why that is called a chop. It's basically something that they do in Asia in lieu of their name, I believe. Now, I could be wrong, so please don't quote me. But it has to do with taking parts of their identity, icons that represent their identity, mixing them up and coming up with a unique name or picture for themselves, if you will. I just think those languages are so beautiful in their written form, and so that's where the chop name comes from. But it has become, and in particularly in Zentangle, where we have a large Asian population, and so and they are very much about the appreciation of all cultures and what all cultures can bring and what Zentangle can be in all cultures. I think the fact that it speaks to so many different cultures should say a lot about it. You know, from Taiwan and China and Asia, India. I think you know, Croatia and Romania and Russia, and I mean there's almost no place on earth that doesn't have a certified Zentangle teacher anymore, and that speaks loudly for the art form, I think. So I think that's just about where I'm going to leave it today. And okay, and I am going to see you guys tomorrow for day 30. Thank you so much for being part of this project this year, and I'll see you then. I like how it turned out. Even though I wasn't happy in the beginning, I like how it turned out.